Yeah.
Okay, it's up and running. So here's my interview with a gamer splash screen, which you've seen. So hopefully you like what I had. And let me pull up the, as people are watching me stagger through this.
Okay.
All right, so I've got your video up, and for some reason it started without me. Okay, I'm at 0, 0. Let's get ready to play. 3, 2, 1, click. All right, so today with interviewing a gamer, we're basically going to show how you can like set up Blender to do what's a good word I want? For me it's benchmarking, but you basically make Blender, you get used to the Blender that you want to use. You know, it's open source, so you're going to do whatever you want to do in your rendering level. So it's your preference, I guess. Maybe preference is a good word. Actually, if you can talk
Or
real
rendering.
quickly, yeah, if you can, yeah, this is kind of like a rendering test or a rendering play. For people who haven't used subdivision modifier or lock camera to view, like I said, I always just do Shift F and steer the camera around. This is more fun.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's more like a video game that way. Subdivision surface modifier. What's the pros and cons of that, other than massive number of vertices quickly?
Okay, the main reason I use subdivision surface modifier is to smooth out the surface of the object, like the sphere, so that way when I look at it in rendered mode, I don't see the corners of the boxes on it or its
Yeah,
faces.
yeah. Sometimes when I hit smooth on a basic object, I don't get that much of a problem, so I don't do subdivision a lot, just because of the lag it introduces of all the extra vertices that I don't need.
Yeah, it's more of the minute details
Yeah,
if it's
if you're
seen.
sculpting though, like when you
Yeah,
do
you
the
don't want to use subdivision for sculpting.
that'd be bad. Okay, so right now we're setting up kind of like a work table, so you can have stuff to play with. So if you've never done Blender or a whole lot, or you're trying to learn it, this is not a bad thing to do. This is a work table, not a solution where this is how you set up your shaders to make something turn invisible. No. This is so we can play around. And so Calvin, talk us through what are you about to do? I know you got lots of things loading up, but what are you about to do here?
Okay, so after I get in all the different pieces, I'm going to immediately plug in the principled shader and zoom in a bit with the camera, then start plugging in the textures into the principled.
Okay. Good old principled shader.
Yes,
It looks scary, but it's not.
it's just the combination of the
Everything.
diffuse, the glossy, and the glass.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And I honestly, I don't see there's a problem if somebody, they want to use their glossies, they want to use, make their own metallic. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's like going to art school and learning your primary colors first. There's nothing wrong with learning how things were built. But once you learn how they're built,
Yes.
you have a principled shader that has everything on it. Here it comes, principled shader. So you're going to keep it diffuse, or you're going to run through the gambit?
The gambit?
Everything.
Oh, no, I'm
Running,
keeping
yeah.
the principled shader as is.
Okay. So this is, okay, I don't have my glasses on, so what are you adding in here?
That is the noise texture, the wave texture, and the add
Math.
node.
And the math
Math
node.
node.
Okay, yeah, math, yeah, and add. Okay, so wave into the noise, color, the value, and that should give us,
A very
ah,
interesting texture. And if you're curious, the subsurface is what tends to give something like skin that look that there's something underneath it, but you don't directly see it.
oh,
So normally if you see a shader for a human being in something like Blender, you'll see the subsurface
yeah,
either
yeah,
filled or whatever.
and translucence too, like for
Those.
skin. Okay, what else we got going on here? Image, no. brick texture,
Yeah, I didn't mean to move the noise away.
huh?
But now I'm going to be plugging in the different types of textures into the different parts of the noise texture.
Oh, look at that. That's
That
kind of
way
cool.
you can see
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
diff-
yeah. So you can see what's going on. Well, you never know. Like somebody may be watching this and going, "Oh, that looks exactly like you know, the space planet I wanted to make." You never know what's inside their head. They're artists.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. And this isn't bad for people who don't know. We have just your basic everyday store-bought home computers. We do not have, you know, massive machines. We're gamers who discovered Blender.
Yeah.
So our machines run the games just fine that we need. But wow, Blender is a much bigger graphics hog than any game I've ever ran.
Yeah, if you really want to push your computer, you go complicated with the blender.
Yeah, yeah.
And it'll show you
Add
just how
smoke.
tough it is,
Add smoke and try
basically.
to render real time and turn the camera and let it crash. Oh, that looks cool. Oh, so that's how you can control that color from the magic texture. Because I like the magic texture, but it always gave me the same colors.
Yeah. You just plug it into
Ah.
another texture and then it would go boom.
Oh, look at that. Okay, that's cool. So I wonder what would happen if I had like your gradient into the noise and then underneath that a magic into a noise and maybe put those into either a mix or an add shader.
I don't think it would work if they went into an ad shader.
Okay, that looks kind of cool. Looks like a weird soccer ball.
That would be a soccer ball I don't want to kick. That's for sure. Like, ugh.
All right, so while that's playing around, let's see. Yeah, guys, pretty soon we'll be getting into setting things up. The thing we've discovered, and Calvin and I both love it, it was Filmic.
Yes.
I
Filmic.
love Filmic. And then just pump the light into the thing. I don't know about you, but it just seems to render quicker when I can flood light into it without overpowering the light. If that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Because with on base lighting, if you try to, this morning I was setting up some spotlights for a project, and I had my backlight cranked up to about 7,500. If I were to do that in
Mhm.
normal mode, yeah, here we are. If I were to do that in normal mode and crank a spotlight up to 7,500, it's going to wash everything out. Yeah, very high contrast, definitely. We love Filmic.
Yes.
All right, so now you're gonna why don't you talk us through you're getting ready to start playing around with like rendering so you can see what the timing is, right?
All right, now this is actually setting up the sampling and going straight into branched path tracing. As you see right at the top, it says path tracing sample 4 out of 4. That speeds up the process so much. So it doesn't have to go through with the applying things 32 times like it normally would, but now it's just only 4 times.
Yeah, and the light bounces are great for shaving off a lot of time when you're rendering because if it does Blender will calculate the light bouncing even if you can't see it. So if you render down how many
It's
bounces it does, it speeds it up.
and was just me cutting down a few of the
Yeah,
values
that really does
there.
speed things up.
Yeah.
Now you
All
said you're
right,
going to
and
get into
now
where you actually went back the other way. Oh, what are you going to get ready to do?
making the world black so
Oh,
that way
yeah, yeah.
the sphere stands out more.
Well, that's profiling. I'll stop it.
And
Okay, I'm sorry. Denoising. It's
showing
either
that denoising doesn't change anything when you're looking at it in the rendered mode.
yeah, that's only for when you're doing like a final render. Yeah.
and showing how the quality doesn't really change in the rendered mode either.
Yeah, that's for your compression and file saves.
But there, that's how tiny the image is when you render it at 10%. So
Yeah,
that's 10% of the resolution.
yeah.
And at 50%, the normal size, it goes very fast with the branched path tracing.
Now you can go
And
quicker
do
if
you
you
know?
jump that thing up to either 128 or 256.
Yeah, or remove the denoising.
Yeah.
Now up to 100%, it's not going to go fully through just for like 3 or 4 seconds to show the speed of branch path tracing alone.
Yeah.
Whoosh.
And it can get quicker. I didn't tell you about it, but performance, you don't have it. I'll put my mouse over it. Yeah, it's under sampling, under light paths, or whatever it's called, performance. In there, you're going to have an X and Y value of 64 preset, and that's what you're running right now is 64.
Yeah, and here is normal sampling. Look how
Yeah.
long it's taking.
Yeah, yeah, render. This is your load up render speed. Yeah, I forget how long
Yeah,
that took, but that thing was not moving at all.
it was going very slow.
Yeah.
And that is the pretty much end of the video. 5 seconds left.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Any final things? This is mainly, I said, to hope you get people to. I see a lot of questions, and yes, there's a lot of great tutorials out there. You know, Calvin and I both, we watch tutorials, but we do it so we can
Yes.
learn a technique. Going, well, how do I make that flame stay inside the shape, or how do I do that? And so we just look that up. But when we first started, my God, it was like, here's a box. And I was so proud of my box. Shift A, Shift A, Shift A. It's the only thing I knew. Shift A. Yeah. Wait till we get to camera flight paths with a Bezier curve. Then we'll have some fun.
Yeah, okay, so the biggest thing to know is that you do not have to have the normal sampling cranked high to get a good result. That is what branched path tracing is for.
Yeah. What I think I'm going to do real quick, I'm just going to load this up just so I can show people cycles render.
Going when it hit you.
Yeah. GPU compute. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Under here, performance. Right here, 64, 64. You change these numbers, it can go faster, but I believe you have to do GPU compute. Not all systems enjoy that. So you have to test your system out first before you do anything. Yes, I know. All right, well, hey, I think that worked rather well for the day. I had a very interesting day in real estate, so thank you, everybody, for putting up with that. Thank you, Calvin, for putting up with me.
Yes.
Let's see, that was interview with a gamer. What could we call this one? I have to put this up on YouTube somehow.
Rendering and
A worktable rendering worktable? Or setting up your Blender basically? Yeah, if you always want to get your things preset, or you always want to know what it's going to be set as, you know, you do your master file and you always load that up. Yeah, we'll let them figure it out. I'll try to figure out what we're going to call it. All right. Well, I hope that was informative to whoever is listening. And thank you very much, Calvin. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
NASA is listening.